I love how either of our intros end with the Yankees winning something, whether it be a playoff game or a World Series. And it's funny, Carl's got his Philly hat over here.
In the middle.
In the middle of the table. Welcome to the Equinox, ladies and gentlemen. Matt Siriani, Carl Maglowski, Ming Chen pushing the buttons. How's everybody doing?
Good. How are you?
I am doing A-okay. And as I was on my way here, I was actually watching the conclusion of Louisville versus Oregon State in an elimination game for the College World Series. Louisville was up 6-3 going into the top of the ninth inning. Oregon State ended up tying the game at 6.
Right.
They had runners on second and third with nobody out. Louisville got out of a jam. Then, with the bases loaded, Louisville hit a sac fly in the bottom of the ninth inning to advance to the Men's College World Series semifinal. Okay. So that's one semifinal set up. It'll be Coastal Carolina versus Louisville on one semifinal. And then the other semifinal, LSU, who just loves taking jello shots at a College World Series, will end up taking on either UCLA or Arkansas, depending on how things go, as Ming's got the bracket right in front of him. So Arkansas played a phenomenal. First off, I gotta get this as our first story. First off, Gage Wood. I don't know if you heard this story. This is actually a sensational story. Gage Wood hit a no-hitter in the College World Series when Arkansas took on Murray State.
Yes.
Arkansas won 3-0. But the story was Gage Wood, their starting pitcher, who was a junior out of Lafayette, Arkansas.
Okay.
And this kid was dialed in. The fastball was working so well. He struck out 19 batters, and Murray State only had one base runner. The only thing that kept him away from a perfect game was in the top of the eighth inning. The leadoff batter for Murray State,
Walt,
was hit by a pitch.
Hit by pitch.
Hit by a pitch on his toe. It was so close. It was a breaking ball that got away from him. But this is the story again. This kid, Gage Wood, is only a junior. He was projected to go within the top 50 of the MLB draft this upcoming summer, but this no-hitter immensely rose his stock. Okay. He's now projected top 20.
Okay, so with now Louisville is playing Coastal tomorrow at 2 o'clock.
Correct.
In the one semifinal. So what happened yesterday was LSU and UCLA had a weather delay.
Yes.
It was suspended. It was 5-3. Going in the bottom of the fourth inning.
Correct.
So they suspended the game till today at 12 o'clock Eastern, our time, 11 a.m. Central, their time.
Yeah.
So they played that suspended game. LSU won 9-5.
Yes.
So that means they play tomorrow night at 7 to play the winner of Arkansas and UCLA in a nightcap tonight at 7 o'clock.
Mm-hmm.
So UCLA will have to win tonight and then beat LSU tomorrow and then Thursday to make the championship game on Saturday.
Yeah, so
the best of 2 out of 3.
Yeah, so what would happen is Louisville would have to beat Coastal Carolina twice. Coastal Carolina has not lost a game in nearly 2 months. They're 25-0 in their last 25 games, and they're 55-11 on the year. And Arkansas had that phenomenal pitching performance by Gage Wood, but they just survived an elimination game. UCLA has to play them now, and whoever wins that will face LSU, as you mentioned before. And like I said, the winner of UCLA, Arkansas will have to beat LSU twice, much like Coastal Carolina.
All right, so your pick's still in. You had LSU.
I did have LSU. I did.
So I think it's going to be Coastal
versus LSU in the title game.
I know Coastal's going to make it.
I think Coastal wins too. If Louisville hadn't won, it would have been a lot closer between Oregon State and Coastal Carolina.
You know what? It doesn't matter. My team.
You're eating crow anyway. You picked Arizona.
You know what? I'm gonna go with depends. If UCLA wins tonight, I think UCLA makes LSU sweat.
You really think so?
So if UCLA wins tonight against Arkansas,
yes,
I think LSU is gonna sweat.
But do they win?
They may get there, but they're gonna have to play tomorrow and Thursday.
Correct.
I think they'll win. They'll get there, but I think they'll have to play the if game on Thursday night.
You want to know something, though? If that happens, I think Coastal Carolina would take it. I think they'd be the national champion.
Yes.
And people don't remember, Coastal Carolina, this is a program that won the NCAA baseball tournament 9 years ago in 2016 at the expense of Arizona. But Coastal Carolina at that time was a program that wasn't on the map yet. They were fairly new to the NCAA.
Right.
So when they won the national title in 2016, it was like, oh my God, what's this program? And a decade later, here they are, up for a second national title.
So they basically their rotation's set. So they're probably going to throw the number 1 tomorrow, and then if they win that, they could probably throw the number 2 maybe on
Game 1 of the night.
No, because it'll be Saturday. I think what they'll do is they'll probably have number 1 guy. The number 2 will start Saturday, and then you can bring back your number 1 on Sunday.
Right.
And then you have your number 3 pitcher maybe go on
Sunday?
Monday.
Okay. Well, that's if that even happens in Game 3. So I want to go back to Gage Wood for a second because I mentioned this kid had 19 strikeouts and a no-hitter. You don't see that in Major League Baseball. 19 strikeouts. And like I said, his fastball was incredible. The breaking balls were not going his way all the time. Like I said, he lost a breaking ball when he hit a batter by pitch. But he still had phenomenal control. He was pumped up on the mound every strikeout. He struck out 7 batters in a row at one point in this game.
Okay.
This kid is insane. And I think that his stock rose immensely. He was like projected top 50. He projected top 20.
Right.
And if he does go within the top 20 in the MLB draft this summer, the Houston Astros would be the team that would take him.
Okay.
If that were to come to reality. Now, the thing is with Arkansas, they don't have a bunch of high-end players on that team. Gage Wood was their best prospect, and he was top 50. Now he's going to be in the top 20. He looks really good. So, but listen, you shine on a big stage like that. It was the first no-hitter in a Men's College World Series since 1960 when Jim Wixon of Oklahoma State beat North Carolina and no-hit him.
Okay, so I'm throwing this question back out to you.
Okay.
And then I like to have Ming's opinion here.
Sure.
So, do you think how they do it for basketball?
Yeah.
Do you think they should have it for baseball 68? Because so you have 68. So if you win your conference and you're say 20 and 34,
yeah,
why should you automatically get a bid?
Well, because that's how it goes. If you
I'm saying, but how basketball does it, you have to play somebody else who has another bad record, and then you.
I get what you're saying, yeah, and it'd be like winner gets in the bracket. That's
correct.
What you're talking about. Okay, I could probably live with that. I'm not really insanely thrilled by that notion. I think it's perfect the way it is. March Madness is different because basketball is a lot more fast paced. You know, it's a lot more intense. I'm not saying baseball is bad. I'm just, you know where I'm going with this.
No, but what you would do is like this. Everyone will play. So the four teams will play Tuesday.
Yeah.
So once the bracket, so actually no, the bracket is done on Monday.
Yes.
The teams. Okay. You go to the place on Wednesday. Okay.
Yes.
If you win that Wednesday. You win on Wednesday. You go where you got to go on Friday and start your regional tournament, your regional bracket.
Right.
You know, because I'm sorry, if you're the last team in, and if I'm 35 and 20, and you're 18 and 40,
yeah,
but you win your conference tournament, you're in. I think. What do you think, man?
I understand that though. I kind of get what you're saying.
I'm trying to. I'm with you. It's perfect how it is. It's baseball. It's not. I don't know. Basketball is just different.
Basketball is different. That's what I'm saying. But like, I know where he's coming from because there were 2 teams that were horribly below 500 that made the tournament. You're talking Little Rock of the Ohio Valley Conference were 26 and 34 going into the tournament, and then North Dakota State was 20 and 32 going into the tournament. They won their conference. So I kind of get where he's going. But at the same time, it's just a different sport. If it was like basketball and it's like fast paced, yada yada, I get it.
But you would go with say the teams you got snubbed, but you would go say Virginia or it was 34 and 21. You would play those schools. You know what I'm saying? The most divert. You know what I'm saying?
I understand. I mean, listen. They're talking about expanding the March Madness bracket in basketball to 72 teams. And I think that's pushing.
Too many.
That's too many.
Way too many.
There was one point in time where they were saying we're going to expand it to 90. No, not 90. 90's too much. Way too much. It's perfect the way it is. Like in baseball, it's perfect the way it is. In basketball, it's perfect the way it is. I can't really
stop the madness. Stop the madness. 90 teams, 70. No, keep it at 64.
Keep it 68. Because then they get
60 or 68.
But in baseball, 64.
Yeah.
Speaking of college, I want to get to a story that's actually kind of developed, and I'm really, really shocked about this. So the Pac-12 is looking into recreating themselves and getting back into getting back into things here. So they would have to come up with a full 8-team conference by July 1st. So the way it works is when Oregon State and Washington State sued the NCAA for getting rid of the Pac-12,
Right.
they have a nonstop effort to keep the Pac-12 alive somehow.
Okay.
Now, how were they going to do this? They were going to pick off a couple teams from the Pac-12, from the Mountain West.
Right.
That's the article right here. So the Pac-12 would have to, or the Pac-2 rather, as it is now.
Right.
They'd have to pick off teams from the Mountain West and maybe even a couple teams from other conferences. So the way it works right now is they're looking at maybe Boise State or Utah State, and
Yes.
maybe even UNLV.
Okay.
Now, a conference has to have at least 8 teams.
Okay.
Keep that in mind. The Mountain West Conference has 11. So if you pick off 3, you're only going to get 5. Then you're going to have to get 3 more somehow. And it sucks that Arizona left the Pac-12 for the Big 12 because Arizona State is perfect. Like they also look at other schools like Colorado State. They're looking at other schools like I guess Texas State is also in the mix too. But it's all over the place. Like I'm sorry, the Mountain West is really popular.
I was told Gonzaga only for basketball because they don't have football.
They don't have football. Yeah, exactly.
So it'll be for basketball and baseball only, and other sports.
Yeah, it'd only be for basketball and basketball and football. You said?
No, basketball and baseball because they don't have no football team.
Oh yeah, Gonzaga's no football team.
They don't have a football program.
Yeah, exactly. A lot of the high end basketball programs have no football teams, like Gonzaga and like Oral Roberts and etc. But see, here's the problem with that. You have to change conferences around. Again, I don't think it would work. I want to see the Pac-12 come back, but I don't think it would work. It's like asking for the Montreal Expos to come back. It's just too impossible to make happen. Now, again, I want to take a look at the Mountain West for a second, like the 11 teams in the Mountain West right now, because it's impossible. Like you'd have to pick out like what you could do, and I've said this for about a year now. Why can't Oregon State and Washington State dropped the lawsuit against the NCAA and just joined the Mountain West?
Well, I understand where they're coming from because they still want to be a member of their conference.
Loyalty.
They're loyal to the Pac. First it was the Pac-8, and now Pac-10, and now
Pac-12.
Pac-12. I blame the footballs. I blame football because they wanted the Super Power 4 conferences where you have 16 teams and 4 conferences in the Big 10, Big 12, ACC, SEC.
Yep.
And that at some point you may just have SEC might say we may have our own tournament. It's the whole thing with college athletics. It's all about football.
It's all about money.
And that's why they did super conferences.
Yeah, they did it for the money and they did it for football. That's exactly why they did it. But it's funny. When we first started this show back in November or December, we didn't talk about the realignment because 1 year later after the fact that it was announced that we were going to get a realignment, I don't like it because it's geographically confusing. Because think of it this way. Rutgers is from New Jersey, right? And they like the Big Ten is like all Midwestern schools, okay?
Yes.
So you're telling me that that Michigan or Michigan State would have to travel to California, where there's a 3-hour time difference, to play a football game?
That's what they did for the ACC.
They did. Oh yeah, with Cal and Stanford. That's right.
Yep, that's what they did.
So stupid.
Well, here's another thing that they had. So Rutgers was in the Big East.
Yeah, initially, yes.
Rutgers was in the Big East with basketball, everything. Basketball, football, you name it.
Correct.
First it was just they were in the Big Ten originally. So, no. They were in the Atlantic, A-10.
You're correct, yes.
I think they were independent, then it became the A-10, and then they went over to the Big East.
Right on.
So, what they did was Syracuse didn't want to leave. Georgetown didn't want to leave. Georgetown came back, but Syracuse didn't want to leave. Let's see.
Maryland also.
No. So let's see. Syracuse didn't want to leave, and Boston College never.
College didn't want to leave.
BC never, but it's all about football. So that's why they killed the whole old school Big East for.
The Big East
because
died.
they were Syracuse was in the Big East for football.
Yes.
Same thing with Miami, Big East. Then it was
Maryland,
BC.
Yeah.
Maryland was originally in the
Oh,
ACC.
in the ACC, yes, correct.
Yes. So that's what it was. It's football. So that's why first Maryland went. Not Maryland. First was Miami went. Then you still had BC. Then BC dropped, and then Syracuse.
Cincinnati eventually left because they were part of the Big East too.
Cincinnati. Yep. They went to the AAC. Now they're in the Big 12.
Yep.
It's all about football.
It's a geographic mess because of football. I know we love college football, but it's too much. Like, think of it. Why are Cal and Stanford on the West Coast and they're part of an ACC conference in the southern part of the country? Why, the Rutgers Maryland thing? Okay, fine, I get it at this point. But why are we why do we have to go all the way to the West Coast? If you're Rutgers, why did you go all the way to the West Coast to play a football game? Why did you go all the way to the West Coast to play a basketball game?
Well, they did for USC.
Yeah, they did.
If they have to play USC and UCLA, they gotta go out there.
Yeah, like Washington, Oregon, USC, and UCLA joining the Big Ten. That was what started this whole thing. That was the start of it all. Because the Big Ten wanted more money from more schools to join the conference, and then boom.
So they realized, crap, if we go to a bigger school, we can have a chance to make the playoff. So that's why they went there for basketball and football.
I never got Ming's opinion about the realignment 1 year later. I'm curious what he thinks about this whole debacle as the realignment.
It's a debacle.
Exactly.
Because we grew up, you would only see Oregon in the Rose Bowl.
Yes.
So now you're going to have to see them in a regular season conference
Back in my
game.
day, the Big Ten had 10 teams in it.
Yeah.
Exactly.
You had your conference game. You had a conference game. So now you're going to see Oregon. Maybe it could be a conference game, and then if you're the top two teams, you have to see them in a championship game again.
And they also killed divisions because of this. They realized, oh crap, the Big Ten has 18 teams now. Let's kill divisions. So it's like the schedule's all messed up now. It's like, what are you doing? What are you doing? This is all for football? And then you turned it into a basketball, baseball thing. And I mentioned the Pac-12 dying. The Pac-12 was the worst part of it all going out because the Pac-12 had won more collegiate championships across every sport, not just baseball, basketball, football, and hockey to an extent, but like track, volleyball, lacrosse. The Pac-12 was king. No other conference won more championships in collegiate sports than the Pac-12. And they killed it because they wanted more money. The schools wanted more money. They were cheap. Or no, they were money hungry. That's what it was. And the Big Ten was like, oh, this is the most popular conference in college football. I mean, at least I can understand the logic of Texas and Oklahoma joining the SEC. This, on the other hand, is head-scratching.
That, I don't know. Yeah, they... Oklahoma joined the SEC. They haven't done nothing.
They haven't done a damn thing.
I gotta give it to Texas. At least they made the playoff the last 2 years.
Yeah.
At least they've been doing something. But what did Oklahoma? Oklahoma should have stayed.
Oklahoma didn't do a damn thing in the 1 year they've been in the SEC. Texas at least won the softball championship. They won the women's softball championship as a member of the SEC. But even then, it's like I feel like the SEC manipulates things just to get what they want. Because in softball, they didn't play a women's softball championship for the conference because it rained. And then we're like, okay, this is great because it will help us get a number 1 and number 2 seed. The SEC is just... I can't with the SEC anymore. And it's just mind-boggling to me. But I actually want to go back into baseball for a second. In the MLB level, because we had a dandy of a trade a couple days ago. On Father's Day, Rafael Devers is now a San Francisco Giant. After initially saying he didn't want to DH and he didn't want to play first base because Tristan Casas got hurt, he's traded from Boston, and the stories that have come out about Rafael Devers are kind of shocking.
Well, he's a bad teammate. It's bad because now he said he's willing to do whatever the Giants ask him to do.
He says he's willing to play any other position. What a jerk.
He is.
What a jerk
you
are.
He is.
And supposedly, he was not a good teammate in the clubhouse.
No.
And then there was also a story. David Ortiz in a recent interview said, oh, I tried to talk to Rafael about being the next face of the Boston Red Sox after I retire. And Rafael just kind of tuned him out.
No, so the Red Sox had to get rid of him. I'm glad. He's gonna realize.
He's gonna get a taste of reality.
It's gonna be tough to win there because it's not a good hitter friendly park over there.
It isn't. San Francisco? No, it's not.
Well, you should have said, you know what? You're unhappy that they signed Alex Bregman, but it said, okay, what do you need me to do to help the club? Okay, that's it. You don't say I'm not going to do this, and this, and okay. Now you may
put your hands down, be a teammate, grow a pair of balls, and actually contribute to the team.
He's just going to do. He's not going to be the leader of the Giants. I think it's Willie Adames.
It is Willie Adames. Yeah.
So he's just going to shut up and play. But yeah, Bob Melvin's not going to put up with that crap.
No.
So that's why Alex Cora traded him away. So he'll realize it's like crap. At least I'm in a big market now. I'm with the San Francisco Giants. They might have less money than what Boston has. So he'll get a sense of reality.
Yeah, but you also got to understand Boston's a pretty big sports market too. And when Boston doesn't see a good athlete, a good teammate, they're going to eat you alive really quick.
Ship you out, man. Ship you out.
Yeah, they shipped him out. They got Jordan Hicks and a couple other prospects for him.
Yes.
But honestly, I think it doesn't matter what the trade value was. I think it was more so just get Rafael Devers the hell out of here.
Yes.
That's what it was.
So before excuse me, I like to continue on Major League Baseball. What I'm doing right now, I'm clapping for Rob Thompson because last night in a 3-1 game, bottom of the 8th, we were up by 2. Okay, he pulled Nick Castellanos out from right field and put in Johan Rojas to play right field for defense because he's a better defensive player than Nick Castellanos.
Okay.
He was unhappy. He was very unhappy. I think he might have showed Rob Thompson up last night in a dugout in front of everybody on the bench. So a couple hours today before game time, because they started an hour 20 minutes ago because of the Game 6 hockey game tonight in Florida.
Right.
So he's not playing. He's not in the lineup. He's benched.
Who?
Nick Castellanos.
They benched him?
Yes, he did.
Why? For his actions last night?
So here's the thing. So this is what they said. So Rob Thompson's your boss. You're gonna come up to your boss and say nasty stuff to your boss. What's gonna happen to you?
Well, in any real life situation, you'd get fired.
Correct. So he talked bad to his boss. So his boss said, "Okay, your ass is on the bench."
Wow.
So what do you think?
If you don't show up the manager.
Not when you have other guys on the bench. You had to suspend him because if he didn't do something, then everybody, other guys on the bench could say, "Oh, we can do whatever we want."
I don't care how good you are.
The inmates would run the asylum.
Yeah.
You got to put your foot down there.
That's how you lose the clubhouse. So
yes,
it's a good move.
And I think before Carl came in here, I think the Phillies were trailing the Miami Marlins 2-0 when we last checked. I don't know what the score is now. We'll get into that later, I guess. But on Boston's side, the silver lining for them, they called up their number 1 prospect, Roman Anthony.
Okay.
And he looked really good. In his first game as a starter yesterday, he hit a 2-run home run, which proved to be the difference against the Seattle Mariners on the West Coast. So people don't understand. It's hard to hit a home run in Seattle.
Okay, so I'm living pretty high because we won 5 in a row.
5 of the last 6 too.
So yeah, so we won. So we won. So we won
5 of the last 6, 6 of the last 7.
Yeah, so we're on a hot streak. So yeah, as long as we take 3 out of 4 against the Marlins, I'm happy until we come back for the Mets over the weekend. So, were you disgusted or upset that you got swept by Boston?
After the Devers trade, I wasn't as pissed. But before it happened, I was upset because it's Boston. It's your number 1 rival. They're not that good of a team on paper.
Right.
And we came into their house and they kicked our ass. But I think they didn't really kick our ass. It was 1-2 run games.
Right.
Throughout the series. But the offense didn't click.
Right.
At all. And they didn't click last night either against the Angels.
Right.
We lost 1-0.
Yeah, so now you lost 1-0 to the Angels. So now you lost 4 in a row. And now you have the pesky Rays who just swept the Mets over the weekend.
2.5 back.
Now they're creeping.
Yep. Not good. Not good. And it's a shame because, you know what? Tampa pisses me off because this is a team that really shouldn't even be in position to make the playoffs to begin with. They're a mediocre team. I don't know any of their players. I'm a big baseball expert. I can't tell you one player on the Tampa Bay Rays right now.
Now, my thing is, why is Kevin Cash still managing them? Why is he didn't take a job nowhere else?
Because
is he happy down there?
I don't think he is. I think on the surface he looks fine, but I think deep down inside he wants to get out of there. First off, you decide to not go into your new stadium. You're using our spring training ballpark because yours got destroyed by a hurricane. You didn't want to go to North Carolina. You got nobody on your team that anyone remembers. You have a bunch of no names.
Right.
Like Randy Rosarena and Jimon Choi are gone. I don't know anyone who's on the Rays right now. And the fact they're 2.5 back, and listen, they're playing good baseball, but like, how is this team even relevant?
Hey, Mink, can you pull up the clip, please, of their schedule and see how they've been doing this?
I gotta see their schedule because they're probably.
And now they've been making up the road games that they had.
They actually swept the Mets not too long ago.
This past weekend.
Yeah, this past weekend they did.
So how many road games have they played? So they should be having more road games. So now they're home again.
Look, swept the Rangers.
Swept the
2
Rangers.
out of 3 versus the Marlins. Beat the Orioles last night.
You're playing a bunch of schleps.
They're still
Swept
winning.
the Mets. Swept the Mets, dude.
Fine, I'll give them that.
They're
All right,
playing
so-
great. You got to give them credit.
So they got the Orioles today,
not
tomorrow,
losing-
and Thursday.
Yeah.
Then they got. If they take 2 out of 3 against the Tigers.
Then we got a situation on.
Yeah, and then they're on a roll. They're on the road next week with the Royals and then the Orioles.
When do they play the Yankees? I'm trying to figure out. Okay, they play the Yankees at the end of the month?
End of July.
End of July.
End of July.
And
4-game series.
4-game series.
At home.
Yes.
Gotta win that series.
So they got 3 at the Reds and then 4 at the Yanks.
Wow.
But before you have that, after the All-Star game, so after the set, so you have the A's again.
That's the Rays schedule. Yes.
You have at the Twins, at the Tigers, at Boston, All-Star game, and Atlanta.
And then you're at home against the Orioles and White Sox
the White
respectively.
Sox.
Yeah.
I don't know how this team's doing it. I really don't. And then they play the Yankees again at the beginning of August. Or no, that's
August.
they're at home against the Dodgers. That'll be a test. Then they come to the Yankees for 2 in mid-August, mid to late August. And I bet
that's home game.
those are home games. Excuse me. They come. Oh yeah, the Yankees are going back to their spring training field for 2 games, and then they play the Yankees no times in September.
Now, I think, dude, they might get a wild card, man.
They're going to get a wild card if they keep this up. Toronto's also playing well as well. That third wild card spot is going to be interesting because right now you got the Red Sox and the Mariners fighting for that wild card spot, but then Cleveland's also in the mix too, and Minnesota. Amazingly, Minnesota's still alive, but it just mind boggles me. Also, another story: Shohei Ohtani returned to the mound last night. He pitched an inning against San Diego Padres, gave up a run
Why?
because the Dodgers are desperate.
So, Dave Roberts said no, but they're saying Ohtani basically is the boss. So, if Ohtani says
Ohtani's
yes,
the boss.
so at one point, Dave Robertson didn't even want him to pitch. But if Ohtani says I'm going to pitch, then basically they're saying he's the boss.
You're getting paid $700 million. All of a sudden, you're the boss now.
I want to pitch him.
I wouldn't have pitched him at all. I wouldn't have pitched him at all for the rest of his career. Honestly, like, someone needs to step into that Dodgers ball club and say, hey, listen, I wear the pants around here. You sit down. First off, Ohtani sleeps at Dodger games.
He does?
He does, yeah. Did you see the game where they blew out the Yankees?
No.
He was sleeping in the dugout.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
Now, did they win last night or lose?
The Dodgers?
Yeah.
Yeah, they won against the Padres.
Against the Padres?
They won. I still think the Giants and Padres can give them a challenge, but the Dodgers are just too good, and they got a lot of guys injured. But it's just annoying. Ohtani's annoying. Mookie Betts is annoying. Teoscar Hernandez is annoying. They're all annoying. It's unacceptable how good this team is, and they're gonna get their guys back. But
I don't know, man. I don't know. I don't know when they're gonna get the guys back.
they're gonna absolutely get their guys back. Also returning, Giancarlo Stanton Si wants to bottle returned back.
Okay, so how did he do?
He went 2 for 4.
Okay.
Not bad, 2 singles.
2 singles?
But if you watch the game last night, I watched the game last night. In the 7th inning, he swung at 2 pitches that were way out of the zone. And I'm like, this is typical Giancarlo Stanton. I'm like, yep, he's back.
You better hope he doesn't throw out his elbow.
Swinging at wild pitches that are like 10 feet outside the zone.
At least you can watch it. At least it wasn't on Apple TV or Prime.
Get out of here with that. Get out of here with that. I hate Apple TV. The content's bad on that on the streaming platform.
Listen, I can't even watch the game on Friday night because it's on Apple TV.
Bullshit.
Yeah, come on, man.
Oh man, it's just like why? Why?
A good series, good weekend series, and the first game is on Apple TV, and I can't watch the game. Like, come on, man. So I'll be there in person Saturday to watch it. At least Sunday's on ESPN.
Yeah.
But if I wasn't there on Saturday, I could watch it on Fox.
Yeah.
But come on, man. Put it on basic. Oh, that's stupid.
These streaming services are the death of me. They really are the death of me because I can't stand paying money to buy a game. What's going on? Like, why doesn't cable TV mean anything anymore?
They want you to stream everything. Everything's streaming.
They want. It's about money. They want money for these streaming services. They're willing to put Mike Tyson versus Jake Paul on Netflix. Why? Because they want money.
Please.
I can't stand that. That fight was bad, by the way. That was a really bad fight. Now we're going to get into the NBA. We got the NBA Finals. 3-2. The Oklahoma City Thunder won Game 5 last night in a 120-109 fashion. Jalen Williams had a 40-point game.
Yes.
And the Pacers were up 2-1. Game 4, they were in control. They were up by 8 by the end of the third quarter. They let that slip away. Now they got to return home to keep themselves alive, force a Game 7.
Yes. Do you think Tyrese Halliburton plays on Thursday night?
Yeah, I heard he's got his calf strain. Not
yes.
Good. I think if you're Rich Carlisle, you gotta use your best guy. You gotta put him out there because the problem with not putting in Tyrese Halliburton is you're basically ending your season and not winning your championship.
So I was hearing this on the way in on was a Sirius XM radio. I would start him if he's not giving me nothing. If he's not giving me nothing within the first 5-6 minutes of the first quarter, I'll say, sorry, nice season, good year.
Yeah.
You come back in training camp in September and get us ready for our next season.
Yes.
I'll keep him on the bench and just have TJ McConnell come in and just be the point guard, and because you have the depth.
Yes.
So if the kid doesn't show you nothing, take him out. I will just keep McConnell running the show. If you win Game 6, even for Game 7, I won't even play Halliburton.
Mm-hmm.
I will just leave him on the bench and then ride with what you guys got left and then see how it falls. I think this injury is going to hurt them. It all depends. If the Thunder will come there Thursday and say, you know what, we got to put our foot on the hammer.
Yes.
On their throat because we don't want to come back on Sunday and
Yes.
maybe a fluke and we could lose this thing.
Yes.
So if they say, you know what, we got to end this tonight, if they come and play, you'll know within the first 5 minutes. If they do that, they could probably win by 20 on Thursday night.
Who, the Pacers?
No. The Thunder.
Well, the Thunder have a habit of blowing people out.
So you'll know within the 5 minutes. If they're playing sloppy and all that, then they're going to struggle. But if they come where they're doing what they got to do the whole night.
They would have to play basically clean basketball in all of Game 6.
If they play clean, they'll win by 20.
Yes. If they don't play clean, it's going to be tight.
Yes. I think they will because I don't think they want to come and risk Game 7
They
on
don't
Sunday.
want a Game 7. They do not want a Game 7.
So I think they'll finish it Thursday in Indiana.
Yeah, I think they do as well. It's unfortunate, but I think that, well, first off, people in New York don't want the Pacers to win because the Pacers ended the Knicks season. Speaking of the Knicks, we got to get into this whole shebang of a coaching search for the New York Knicks. So the Knicks are all over the place asking coaches to interview for the vacant position.
Right.
They already said that Jay Wright is not interested in the position.
No, I knew he wasn't.
He wasn't interested in the position. He wants to stay with CBS.
I knew that.
But they're also asking Quinn Snyder from the Hawks to interview. They're asking Chris Finch to interview. They're asking so many coaches across the NBA to interview. Why can't they just ask Mike Malone to interview, hire him, and then be done with it?
Why don't they ask Taylor Jenkins?
Well, Taylor Jenkins in Memphis is already his name. I think he was like the first candidate to interview.
Well, so just do that. I think he got a raw deal in Memphis. He shouldn't have got fired.
He should have.
That's messed up. So I think they should go. Like I said, Taylor Jenkins or Mike Malone.
Mike Malone was probably the best.
They also mentioned Mike Brown.
Mike Brown of Sacramento.
Yeah, he shouldn't have got fired from the Kings. It wasn't his fault. So those two other emerged as last week was Taylor Jenkins and Mike Brown.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Huh. So there's that. Listen, I don't know why the Knicks are like talking to other teams to interview candidates. That's not really the smart thing to do, especially Chris Finch. Like they approach Chris Finch like, "Hey, Chris, come over here." Like, the easy thing to do would be like just look at Mike Malone and say, "Come aboard." Like you knew Jay Wright didn't want the job.
No.
And you knew that Johnny Bryant was going to be hard to get because the Cavaliers like him and I don't think they wanted to get rid of him.
So my thing is, where is it? Give me an APV on Leon Rose and James Dolan. Can two of you guys go to have a press conference and say, why did you fire Tibbs? Tom Thibodeau, is it because your new player didn't like Tibbs? Tell us the reason why, because your superstar loves him.
Your superstars love him.
You know, so is it more Mikal Bridges? It can't be Karl Anthony Towns because he had him in Minnesota.
Right.
So I don't know. And with the Celtics not having a key piece next year.
Yes.
With what's we call Jason Tatum.
Uh-huh.
The Celtics may be a 6 seed.
They should be.
Or a 7 playing,
yeah.
you know. So I don't know. So now the East is more going to be wide open. You had Orlando Magic making a trade.
Yes.
With
yes, they got Desmond Bane.
Yeah, from Memphis.
Yeah.
Yep.
That was very shocking.
Yeah, so they shipped out Cole Anthony and Caldwell.
Contavious
Caldwell Pope went to Memphis for Desmond Bane, and then a couple first round picks.
Yep, that's exactly what happened.
Yeah.
But like, what's shocking to me is that like they got to focus on their other investments because John Morant is going to get is 3 years left on his contract. Jaren Jackson has a couple.
So this is the thing.
Well.
So they're saying they may ride it out next year coming up.
Yes.
If they're not that good, they may try to blow it up.
In Memphis, they should.
And start all over again.
They should start over because unfortunately Memphis has no foundation right now. I feel like last year was kind of like the death mill. I know they got John Morant back and they love Zach Edey, but like they're still not really where they should be. That's the biggest problem. They're a far cry from where they were a few years ago. But now we're going to get into Kevin Durant because Kevin Durant, like many people who despise New York, basically said to the Knicks, I'm not coming here. Or the Knicks denied him. They didn't want him there. But he's narrowed it down to 3 teams that he wants to go to.
Okay.
The Houston Rockets.
Right.
The Miami Heat. San Antonio Spurs. Those 3 teams are where Kevin Durant wants to go next.
All right, so what if he goes to Miami, if he goes to the Heat?
Yes.
Who do they have besides him? Yeah, they have Bam
Adebayo.
You have Bam Adebayo. You have Bam. You have Tyler Hero. But that's it. That doesn't get you over the hump.
It doesn't.
You know?
They need Jimmy Butler and they trade him away.
They got rid of him away. The Rockets make more sense than the Spurs.
Correct.
So he should go to Houston.
Yeah.
I don't know. That makes no sense. That makes no sense at all. So it's got to be the Rockets.
So you think he goes to one of the Texas teams? The Rockets have a good foundation, but I think I like San Antonio a little bit more.
I don't even think the Spurs would do nothing.
Really?
What would he do with the Spurs?
First off, you'd pair him with Victor Wembanyama. You'd pair him with De'Aaron Fox. You'd have Chris Paul still there.
Chris Paul's still there?
He's still there. hanging by a thread, but he's still hanging on. He's still there.
Was it a 1-year deal or he signed 2?
I think it was initially a 1-year deal, but I think they gave him a little bit more money to stay for another year.
Man, can you look up Chris's?
Yeah, I need to see Chris Paul's deal because I know he's going to come back.
Chris Paul's contract with the Spurs.
Yeah, but Chris Paul, the problem with Chris Paul is he's worn out, so that's his biggest problem. Yeah. Oh, it was a 1 year. Yeah, $10.5 million in the summer of 2024. So this contract was signed.
He's off the books.
He's off the books. But the Spurs might bring him back for another year. They might. Oh no, they have the club option. That's what it is.
No, unrestricted free agent.
Free agent, that's right.
So if I was KD, I would go with the Rockets.
I like the Spurs better because who wouldn't want to play with Victor Wembanyama? And also the Spurs, if they do well in the draft, I don't see why Kevin Durant would want to turn that down.
I think the Spurs have, I don't know, the 5th or 6th pick.
Yeah, they're like top 5, I believe. But the Spurs, to me, make the most sense. They're the most ready. They've got a new regime going in because Greg Popovich is stepping away from coaching for good.
Yeah, he's going to be in the front office.
Yeah, he's going to be in the front office for the Spurs. And honestly, thank God, because I like the situation more of him not coaching because he obviously has suffered the stroke and everything. He needed to preserve his life. And I think he's doing the right thing.
Right. So who's the head coach now for the Spurs?
I forget. It was the guy who took over for him. I forget his name. They should have hired.
Oh, they made him the permanent.
Yeah, they removed the interim tag from him. It was not Greg Popovich. Who took over? Yeah, Greg Popovich was Mitch Johnson.
Mitch Johnson. Okay.
Yeah, he was the interim coach of the Spurs before they removed the tag off him because Greg Popovich was having health problems.
Okay.
So I'm glad they did this. Because the Spurs need to change a head coach because Greg Popovich can't coach forever. I mean, that's
okay. Now here's the thing that they did before. Do you think when she's done? Okay. Do you think when Becky Hammon's done with coaching this season for the Las Vegas Aces?
Yeah.
Do you think the Spurs should contact her to see if she wants to come back and be a part of their coaching staff?
I think it's possible
because if you're that good, why want to coach in WNBA as head coach when you could be on the bench on an NBA team when you're that good?
And
you're under Pop.
And the NBA is also trying to break the gender gap.
Yeah, because there is actually Rick Carlisle has a female on his staff.
Does he really?
Yes.
Who?
Man, can you
who's the woman on his staff?
And do Indiana Pacers
coach, women's assistant coach, female coach. Yeah, that works.
Right here.
Jenny Busek?
Yes.
Wow. Good for her. A team that's in the NBA finals right now, good for her, man.
It's like she get no offense. It's good that she's with WNBA, but she can get more recognition because she was on his staff with Pop.
Yeah.
And she coached I think the summer league team out in Vegas and all that.
She did.
So or what she could do is she could maybe coach their G League team.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But yeah, she should go back with the Spurs.
Yeah, I think you should absolutely make the most of what you can make. Like, any opportunity you have to advance your resume, bolster your resume and your credentials, you should absolutely take it. Like I said, the NBA loves to integrate. They love to include women in everything. And I have no problem with it whatsoever. And plus, you're getting more money in the NBA than you are in the WNBA.
Yes,
you're making more money. You're coaching more games. You're under better ownership. It's a win-win. It's a win, big time. So I hope Becky Hammon eventually comes to that decision. So now I want to get into the Stanley Cup Finals. Florida is up 3-2 in the Stanley Cup Finals, and last night, or it was Saturday night's game. Saturday night's game 5. It was a 5-2 Florida win. Edmonton will play game 6 on
tonight.
Tonight. Yes.
Tonight.
So Edmonton has to win game 6 to force a game 7 and bring it back to Edmonton in order to force a game 7 and bring it back to Edmonton, which I think would be huge. This series, by the way, Carl, has been like a banger. It really has, because 3 overtime games.
Yes.
3 overtime games. A lot of really good quality play. A lot of high-scoring games.
Yes.
In the first, let me see, 7, Then 9 is 16. 16 and 7 is 23. 23 and 9 is 32. And then 32 and 7 is 39. That would be 39 goals in 5 games. That's how high octane offensive these two teams have been. The Oilers are in a little bit of a predicament right now as far as their goalie. They're back to back between Pickard and Stuart Skinner.
Right.
They want to make sure that they have the right goalie. Stuart Skinner has struggled in the first couple of games.
Right.
But they want to you want to put out the best team possible. Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl are busting their tails off.
Right.
Every game. They're leading the postseason in points. And yet they're trailing in this critical game 5. Well,
Right. So you know who we picked?
yeah, we picked the Panthers, we believe, right?
No, I picked the Oilers.
We
picked the Oilers.
We both picked the Oilers.
I picked the Oilers. I think I'm gonna be eating crow. I think the Panthers.
We'll both probably eat crow.
I think the Panthers are gonna end it tonight.
You think they end tonight? At home?
They're not going back to Edmonton. It's done. When they won Game 5, won Game 5 on Saturday night, and it was Saturday night.
Saturday night. Saturday, yeah.
So when they won Game 5 Saturday night, not like say overtime, but when they won convincingly by 3 goals, I said, "Oh boy." Brad Marchand, he's probably going to win the Conn Smythe
He probably will.
because he's been scoring goals left and right.
Yeah, John Draisaitl has been phenomenal.
So
Game-winning goals.
they're sniffing it, and if they want to win it tonight, they're going to go guns blazing.
You want to be a shame if you pick a Stanley Cup Finals MVP from Florida. I don't know who you'd pick because Florida hasn't had a lot of standout players. Maybe Sam Reinhart.
I think they're going to do. I told you who they're going to do.
What do you think they're going to do?
Brad Marchand.
Brandon Marchand.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Man, can you see how many goals Brad Marchand has?
It's just in the Stanley Cup Finals. I want to see the Stanley Cup Finals stats for the Florida Panthers. But let's just see what Brad Marchand has done. All right, so this is his stat line in the 2024 playoffs. All right, so
He's got 6 goals.
6 goals.
Yes,
Holy crap!
6 goals.
6 goals in 5 games. Oh
Yes,
my god,
6 goals.
that's crazy.
So how many goals does he have for the playoffs, man?
So you
Can
gotta
roll?
scroll up now.
So I think
10,
playoffs.
he's got 10.
10 goals.
10 goals, 10 assists.
That's good. Half the games he's got 10 goals.
Wow, more than half the goals came in the Stanley Cup Finals.
So yeah. So the time that he's got to be producing, he's producing.
He is. He's producing at the right time. But I want to see a Game 7 because this series has been too good to not have a Game 7.
I don't think so, dude. I didn't watch any of it, but I think they're gonna win tonight. I think they're closing it out, dude.
It sounds like it. It sounds like it.
And then here's the thing: if they're gonna be back here again next year too. Florida's not going away nowhere.
No, they're not. They're not. They're really, really talented. The fact that they were even a 3 seed in their division, I think, was actually I think it just shows that they play well when it matters most.
Yes.
In the playoffs. Because they beat the brakes off of the Maple Leafs late in their
Yes.
series.
So I know we're talking about the Stanley Cup Finals,
Yeah.
but did you get the picks of the 6 of each country projected to go to the Winter Olympics in 26 in a couple months?
Oh, I actually didn't look at that. I'd like to look at that really quick.
So for us, for us, we have the Kachuk brothers. We also have Austin Matthews. We also have.
And this is Team USA?
Yes. We also have what's it called? Jack Eichel.
That's a good roster.
And we also have one more guy.
The roster should be here. So,
Yeah, so we got-
Quinn Hughes,
Eichel. Yeah, Quinn Hughes. So it's Eichel, Hughes,
Brady Kachuk,
both Kachucks, and then
Charlie
McAvoy, and also we also have whatchamacallit,
Austin Matthews.
Austin Matthews. Yeah.
That's a really good roster.
So Canada already has their guys.
You want to know what the problem with Canada is? They've played the U.S. so many times and they've beaten the U.S.
So you have your normal guys: Crosby, and you also have Connor McDavid,
Cale Makar, McDavid,
McDavid, all those guys.
Nathan McKinnon. That's a really good roster. Oh my God! Well, first off, we got to make it to the gold medal game first before we even worry about Canada.
Just get a medal, man.
Just get a medal. Just get a first place medal for once.
I'm happy if you did go either Just get a medal. If you can't get
the four nations face off pissed me off a lot because they had the Canada right on their heels.
So
they beat him in the exhibition game, and then when they played in the championship, they lost.
So it depends on how
in overtime.
So it depends on how good they are in pool play, who they face in the semifinals.
Yes.
So if they win the semifinal, they're at least going to get silver. All right, you don't want bronze, but any medal is better than nothing. I'm saying
just medal, just medal.
Just medal. That's it.
That's it. All right. To conclude the show, we're gonna go into the NFL power rankings really quick. So, this is the initial power rankings going into the 2025 season. I forget who published the rankings up, but we're gonna go over them. And we're gonna see who stands where. I know for a fact, I think the Giants are in last, but we'll make the most of it. Okay, so this is the power index. The Eagles are number 1. This is basically, this is it. Number 1. Kansas City's number 2. Baltimore's 3. Buffalo and Detroit are 4 and 5. Then the Commanders. Then the Cincinnati Bengals, who have been a disaster managing their defensive staff, but whatever. The Packers, the Chargers. Then the Rams and Broncos. San Francisco, Houston, Tampa Bay, the Minnesota Vikings, the Chicago Bears, the Dallas Cowboys. Then we got Pittsburgh, Miami, and Arizona. Then Seattle. Then Jacksonville, Indianapolis. The Saints are actually in last place, not the Titans.
So, speaking about, go ahead, keep going down the list.
All right, so the Colts and the Raiders, Patriots, Falcons. The Giants are actually above 5 teams. I am flabbergasted. The Panthers, Jets, Browns, Tennessee Titans, and New Orleans.
All right, so when you had a nice Father's Day with your dad on Sunday.
Yes.
I know you don't want to talk about it, but how does he like Aaron Rodgers as his quarterback?
He's sick. He's in a midlife crisis because he has 2 teams. He loves the Steelers and he loves the Jets. He's in a midlife crisis. He can't pick one team. But like when it comes to the Aaron Rodgers thing, he's like, I don't know, man. I think Rodgers lost it, man. Like, that's what he said. Those are his exact words. And I'm like, Dad, he was on your team. Now he's on your second team. Like, pick a team. But like, honestly, the Jets are probably going to get blown out in game 1 when they face Pittsburgh because that's who the Steelers are playing week 1.
Yes. So they're saying if say they win a playoff game, okay, say if they win a playoff game,
right?
The Steelers win a playoff game and they lose the divisional round, and he's playing good, but there's a late drive that the defense doesn't hold, and they kick the game-winning field goal, or they score a touchdown. They're saying that Rodgers could come back one more year, but
I think he's done after this year.
If they don't make the playoffs, definitely he's done.
Yeah,
it depends on what he does in the playoffs.
It depends on what he can do in the playoffs.
Because if it's not his fault, he actually plays good, but the defense falters, then yeah, let's give it one more try. But if it's like
if he's mediocre the next year,
if it's waxing, if they get slacked and they lose by 20, yeah, regardless.
Yeah, done.
Yeah,
done. The problem with Aaron Rodgers is he's in his 40s. What is he, 41 years old?
He's 41. He's going to be 42 in the middle of the season.
41. My God. He's trying to replicate what Tom Brady did.
Brady was at least 45.
Brady was 44, 45.
Yeah, so
when he retired.
Yeah. There's also news from Kansas City that supposedly Travis Kelce lost 25 pounds.
Did he really?
Yeah, so I don't think it's going to help. I don't know if it's going to help him.
Did he shake it off when he was hanging with Taylor Swift all this time?
I don't know. But
yeah, did you see the Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce were at the Stanley Cup Finals? I think it was Game 4. They were there.
They were there?
They were just there chilling out.
Chilling.
But Travis Kelce losing 25 pounds. That's crazy.
All I want is I just want the Eagles to beat them in week 2. I want the Chiefs to be. I want the Eagles to basically embarrass them again in Kansas City.
Yeah,
and like I can't wait.
Yeah, it would be something. It'd be something. I want to see. I just want to see the Giants be competitive this year. That's all I want.
I just want somebody to win the division, and if the Chiefs make the playoffs but don't win the division, I'm just tired of the Chiefs.
You want to know something?
I'm chiefed out.
So the Eagles are actually trying to do something that hasn't been done in over 20 years.
Repeat. Not
even that.
What?
Yeah, I'm saying. Well, the Chiefs repeated. I'm saying repeat in something else.
Oh, win the division.
Win the division. There has been no repeat division winner since the 2001-2004 Philadelphia Eagles. And that was when Donovan McNabb was the quarterback.
Yes.
That was when Andy Reid was the coach. And that was when you had, at the end of that stretch. You had Terrell Owens in the last year. But they're trying to repeat. So it'd be the first time in 21 years.
Everyone's saying the Commanders.
I don't think the Commanders.
I really don't care as long as the Eagles are healthy in the playoffs.
The Commanders could win the division, but I don't know if they're going to go for it. I mean, I think Jane Daniels had a really great rookie season, but I'm not really too sure how he's going to perform in year 2. He'll either have a sophomore slump or he'll continue his success.
Yeah, because it doesn't matter, because as long as you're, if you're not the 1 seed, you're going to play every week.
Yeah, and like Detroit was the 1 seed last year.
Maybe, oh man, I don't even know who could be in NFC.
The NFC is anyone's ball game. It really is.
Maybe the Lions. Maybe
I want to see the Lions win so bad. I'm very pissed off that they didn't win the first round.
Maybe the Lions could be the 1 seed. It's gonna be tougher because the Packers will be better.
The NFC North is going to be really good. I think the Bears will improve now that Ben Johnson's their head coach. I'm calling it right now. I think Caleb Williams throws for 4,000 yards. And you want to know why I'm saying that? Guess why I'm saying that?
Why?
Because the Bears, in their 106 or 107-year history,
right,
they've never had a 4,000-yard passer. Never. Not even Jim McMahon did it.
Rams? No, the Rams may win 12.
Rams might win 12 games. They might win their division. Well, San Francisco, if they're healthy, they could be good.
I don't know. It's gonna be tough. It's gonna be tough to win the who's gonna be the 1 seed.
What do we need to do? We need to go through. We need to make like division predictions on if not our next episode, definitely the episode before that. After that,
why? Well, we could do it in August.
Okay, fine, we can do that
because that's when we should do it when before the first preseason game.
Fair.
You know, because I think actually let me look it up.
The Hall of Fame game you're talking about, or the first regular preseason?
Man, can you look up and see when this preseason start? NFL preseason.
Well, you're talking about the Hall of Fame game, or are you talking about like regular preseason?
I'm just doing everything. NFL preseason.
NFL preseason starts. Well, that's the Hall of Fame game. Well, that was last year. That last year? 2025. Preseason.
Not doing that yet.
Why does it say 21-17? At Thursday, August. Something's going on here.
Let me see.
All right, here we go. July 31st.
Okay, so bingo.
There we go.
So our next show will be.
Well, at that time, it would probably be like July 29th or something like that.
Yeah, because our next, so we have July, because we're not gonna do nothing on the 3rd before the holiday on the 4th. So we'll be back on July 3rd. Sorry, July 2nd.
July 2nd would have to be back on, yeah.
July 2nd will be back on a Wednesday, July 2nd, and then
2 weeks after that would be the 16th, and then 2 weeks after that would be the 30th.
Yeah, so we could do it. Yeah, basically, or we could do it on that night.
On the 31st? We can do that, yeah.
You know?
Yeah, I'm down for that.
That's when we can make our picks for the divisions.
I'm down for that. All right. Well, this was a great show for sure. From Ming Chen, Carl Maglowski, I'm Matt Siriani. We will be back on July 2nd. We cannot wait to come back. Thank you so much for tuning in, everybody. We got a whole lot to go to. Enjoy the College World Series. Enjoy your sports from the Equinox. Take care, everybody. We'll see you July 2nd.